Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Love Island USA Season 7, Episode 30. So, this episode didn't really give a lot. Yeah, it didn't give a lot at all. We were fresh off of the Crash Out Challenge or game that they played. So, everyone, it's that night. Everyone is relaxing, talking. We just, the last episode we ended with Amaya and Brian making out in the speakeasy. So we see Huda and Chris talking, and um, they're talking about their connection or something like that. And one of the things that Huda had said was just like, "I'm surprised not a lot of people pulled me to kiss," and it was just like, I don't know for them. It's like, I don't know, but yeah, so they were talking, they were trying to give jokes or whatever, and they're not matching. There something is off about them. I don't know what it is, but something's off about them. We see they okay, so they all getting ready for the night, everyone goes to bed, and all of that. We see the next morning, the guys bring all the girls breakfast, and Taylor decides to plan the date for Clark. And it was just like, that was really cute. It was cute. He had Ace being the waiter, so Ace is running around the villa looking like a chicken with his head cut off. And it was just like, oh, that was really cute. It was just like he planned this little cute little date for them, like a picnic type style thingy or whatever. And so they asked Amaya to stall her so she wouldn't come down before they were done setting up or whatever. So Maya was just like, hey, let's sit. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite? What's your ideal date? All this other stuff. And it was just like, girl, Amaya, like Amaya's funny. But so yeah, so they come down. She comes down for the date or whatever, and they talk about how they would see themselves outside or whatever. And he's talking about how he's a country boy through and through, and she a city girl, and how they gonna make this work. And they're just like, they're gonna make it work or whatever. We then find out that Cierra has left the villa due to personal reasons, and um I skipped a whole section. Let me backtrack. We see Pepe and Iris talking. I'm not gonna hold you. They're boring to me, so I didn't pay attention to what they were talking about. Something about family or something like that, and her dad and who they look like or something like that. But okay. Then we see Amaya and Byron talk. Not Byron, Brian talking, and they were talking about she lives in New York. I forgot where he lives, and they were just talking about like different stuff, like how their lives or whatever. Then we find out that Cierra has left the villa due to personal reasons. Now, the reason why she left the villa is due to the comment, something that she made. It was like a racial slur towards Asian people. I didn't know that was a racial slur. I learned something new. What I don't like about the whole situation is she was made aware of it when this happened back in 2024. She admitted to her wrong, she apologized, she acknowledged, and she took accountability for what she did. And she didn't do it moving forward. And it's like, everybody was coming out because I seen some stuff, but it was just like I wasn't paying no mind to it because it was just like that didn't make sense. Because I was just like, I don't see how she would. Because like I seen some screenshots and stuff like that where they were just like saying like she doubled down on it, like saying, "Oh well," and she kept using the word, but it was just like something didn't seem right about it. Come to find out, those were fake screenshots. Someone man, people manufactured them or whatever, and it's like we're like 30 episodes in, and it's like this happened in January of 2024, so over a year ago. And now all of a sudden, because people don't like her, now this has popped up, and it's just like, but I understand if you get rid of one because of it, you got to get rid of the other one because of it. So I understand. It is what it is. So she's left the villa. Now Nick is single and he gotta find a connection or he's gonna be dumped from the villa. He he's talking to the guys and they're like, talking about the whole they're talking about the whole Sierra of it all and how he's feeling and all this other stuff. And he was just like, that was my strongest connection. I don't know what I'm gonna do, X, Y, and Z, blah 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 blah. We see Amaya and Zach talking, and they're like, you know, because I feel like they already had. I think last episode she had apologized for how she talked. Yeah, she apologized for how she talked to him last episode. So this episode, like, they're trying to see if they can find their way back to each other or like find that connection again or whatever. um she's like, eh, I don't know. We'll see. We see Ace and Shelly talking, and we see they're like getting like they're delving deeper into like how they grew up because Ace had asked her like what was it like growing up, and she was telling him how like things were rough. There was a time where their family had to live in a shelter, but because there was so many it's so many of them, her and her siblings, like it wasn't bad because they like they kept they were they made it fun for each other. So, so now she's like they're in a better place. The family's in a better place, and it's like, they're doing good. And then he like she asked him what was it like for him, and then he was talking about like how he would go to school in like this fancy neighborhood and all this, and then come home to Watts and sleep in a beach chair. So they're like, they're getting to know each other more, and they're like, being like, it's really cute, you know they're real cute, demure. That's them, of course. So they look across the way and they see they see Alandria and Nick talking, and they're like all lovey dovey, like, well, Shelly and Ace are all lovey dovey looking at them, and he was just like, just smile and wave, just smile and wave. And we see Nick and Alandria talking, and then she's just checking on him because his connections left, and seeing how he's doing, and then he's also checking on her and seeing how she's doing with the whole Taylor of it all. And she was just like, I was never mad that he chose somebody else. I was just mad at how he went about it. And that's it. Like, that is, at least that's what I was upset about, because it was just like, you knew from jump that you didn't feel an attraction to her. You should have let her know that from jump. Let her know, I'm low key not attracted to you, but that doesn't mean that it can't grow. I do want us to explore each other as well as explore others, but you didn't do that. You wanted her to jump and run for you when Jalen came in the house. And as soon as Jalen is gone and you find your person, now it's all, you want me to do this for you, and I don't, it's not your experience. And it was just like, but you, when it was her turn and she had that connection, she had somebody in the house that was for her, you wanted her to do that for you, and she did that for you, which, still upset by that, but she did do it for you. Now it's your turn to give her that reassurance, and you can't even do that. And that's not cool. It's not cool at all, but it is what it is. So he asked her, how did you feel about them being last and everything? And she was just like, I felt good. I was just like, exactly. Like, don't ask me nothing. Don't ask me no questions like that. Yeah, I felt good. Like, okay, what you want me to do? Oh Lord. So then we see Alon, is it? Why do I keep calling? I think his name is Elan. Yeah, Elan. Sorry. So we see Elan talking to Elan is talking to Amaya, and he's trying to, like, gauge where she's at, like trying to get a connection with her, because he got to find somebody, because his connections left too. Like, it wasn't really his connection, but the only person that he was looking at, she's left the villa. So now he's scrambling because he got to find somebody. So she asked him what his favorite food is, and this man said Latin food, and it was just like, are you serious? Are you for real, or are you just saying that? Because if somebody asks me what my favorite food is, I'm gonna say nachos, or I'm gonna say steak. Like, say something. Like, you know what I'm saying? But Latin food, I guess, but whatever. So they talk, and then we see Alandria and Zach talking because Zach is like, he's always like honestly with Zach, he liked Alandria because that's who he picked in Casa. He liked her. He just didn't like the fact that he couldn't kiss her right away, which is what made him pick Amaya at the end of like during Casa or whatever, because it was just like that's he was able like he kissed her because that was one of the things like so it was just like okay, so but now he's here, now they're talking or whatever, they're trying to get their connection on or whatever. um and we see, let's see what happens next. So yeah, so they're talking and they're talking about like trying to build their connection or whatever. Then we see Amaya and Huda talking, and Amaya's just like, oh my goodness, I have like I'm like trying to figure out what it is. So she's giving her like Huda asked her like what's your thoughts on each guy, so she's giving the thoughts on them, and then Huda gets a text and we find out it's a recoupling. So Amaya's just like, oh Lord, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. So they're all like scrambling, like the guys who needs connections, they're scrambling. So it's Brian, Zach, Alon, and Nick, because those are the four guys that are single and they need to find a connection because Pepe and Iris is single, but we know they're gonna get together. And then we got Shelly and Ace, and we know they're together. And then Huda and Chris, and we know they're together. So they each all like those three guys, Brian, Zach, and Elon. They all pull Amaya to get like where her head's at, and then uh Nick and I think Zach pull um Alondria to get where her head's at or whatever. So they're all getting ready for the night or whatever. They're all dressed up, and this is when Nick pulls Alandria to see where her head's at and talk to her, and they're talking about how they did always wanted to explore each other, but because they had different connections in the house, that's why they never really fully explored each other like they wanted to. And their heads were clouded. So even when they got together during Casa, because when they got kicked off, they were able to get the option to be put together and come back to the house. And even though they were in a couple, because again their minds were still on their other people respectively, their heads were clouded, so they didn't really fully try to explore the connection that they had. So they're talking about that, and as they're talking, Ariana comes in, and of course she looks good. I liked her outfit. It was like a little I don't even know what it was, but it was cute. So she comes in and she lets them know, it's time for a recoupling. It's going to be girls' choice, and whoever is left single leaves the villa. So the first person to go is Shelly, and she does this really nice speech to Ace. Um, so she picks Ace when he goes to sit down, like they hug each other. He goes to sit down. Ariana asks how he's feeling, and he was just like really grateful. Like, I'm glad that I get to explore this connection with her and we can continue to grow together and all this other stuff. And then he was just like, that really meant a lot. And she was just like, I meant it. And I was just like, oh, that's so cute. Then Clark and Taylor, Clark's next. She gives her speech. She picks Taylor. Then we get Huda's next. She does her speech. She picks Chris, of course. Then Iris next. She does her speech. She picks Pepe, of course. Then the next person is Olandria. So she does her speech. She picks Nick. Everybody's like happy about it because they've been waiting for them to actually do their connection or whatever. So then the next person goes Amaya. So we have Zach, Brian, and Elan left. So she gives her speech and she picks Brian. So that means that Zach and Elan are dumped for the villa. So those are the guys that are dumped. And so yeah, so they're dumped and they get sent on their way, and then the episode ends with Nick and Alandria like saying, we're gonna actually go for this connection. This is what we're gonna go for. So that was the episode. Again, like I said, this episode didn't really give a lot. There wasn't much that happened in this episode. So Yeah, that was it. But you get down in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. If you liked what you see, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.